So in this video, I'm gonna be reviewing your mobile detailing setups. I've been asking you to send me your photos and videos of your current setup, whether it's a van, a sedan, a motorcycle, and I'll give you my feedback. And if you're still interested in getting your rig reviewed by me, send me an email to oscar@detailgroove.co with your photos and videos. And if you're shooting videos, make sure that they're in landscape mode. That way it's easier for me to review. And I will eventually make a video on your setup. We had quite a few of submissions, so I couldn't get to all of them. So I will make this into a series. So if you don't see your setup in this video or next video, it'll probably be the next video and next video. Because yeah, with the amount of submissions, I'll turn this into a series. So send me your setup at oscar@detailgroove.co and I will put it in queue. Now, I'm not trying to take any digs or, trying to be mean to anyone. I'm just giving my loose feedback to hopefully help you in any way. A lot of the setups are amazing, especially on the setups on the vehicle that they have. So if you're like, man, I can't start my business because I have a Camry, you'll see why you can. So anyway, send me your setups to oscar@detailgroove.co. I'll be making a series on this, so let's go ahead and get started with the first video of reviewing your mobile setups. So remember, a big theme with these videos and what I've been preaching for many years now is start with whatever you have. If you have your sedan, if you have a Jeep, if you have a pickup truck, if you have a mid-size truck, if you can attach a trailer to it, a small trailer, big trailer, whatever you have, that's what you start with. You don't have to wait to get a van or a dedicated truck to go out and service vehicle. Like, you really don't. And hopefully with these series of videos that I do, it'll show you, oh wow, like I have a Camry too and they're doing it and they have a full setup so I can do it. Or wow, they have a Jeep and I have a Jeep and I can do that. Or I have a bigger vehicle and they're doing it. And, so hopefully with this series, it really shows you that, oh wow, you can really start with whatever. Because remember, I started with a 2003 Toyota Matrix XRS, and from then I've progressed to an HHR 2009 HHR panel, to then a 1999 Dodge Caravan, to now a 2015 ProMaster van. So progression with everything, but you can start with what you have. So let's get started with this first video right here.
This is my setup. This is all the equipment I use. Got the pressure washer right here. I have a pump right here, the pump the water for the pressure. Got my generator, the vacuum, and then I got all my chemicals and supplies, rags.
So one thing I'll point out is that when you do have a smaller vehicle, or any vehicle at that, it's not so much about like how it's, like there's gonna be phases with everything, right? So with your current setup, whatever that is, you first have to get through the phase of how can I just fit everything in here, right? So it's not so much optimizing for efficiency, it's more of optimizing for how much can I cram in here in order to take everything to the job site, right? So when you have, if you're just working out of a bed or out of a Camry or out of something small and compact, it's like you can't really focus so much on efficiency as much as it is about like how can I fit the most in here. So how do I optimize for space, right? Because obviously, like if you want to throw in a reel and a pump and a pressure washer and a generator, you can only do so much in a confined space. So as you're working with your setup, don't try to do the best that you can, but it's definitely more so like how can I just fit the most in here, right? Because I remember that's what I did. That's why like the way I purchased stuff in my Matrix was more so, and my HHR panel was more so of like what fits most in here, right? Like, can I buy like a big old 16-gallon vacuum? No, I want like the most petite vacuum that I can find that fits underneath my seats in order to fit other things around the van.
Towels, the buffer, all the chemicals like Windex and spray waxes and all that good stuff in the bucket. My water tank's right here in the back. It's a 50-gallon water tank, low profile. So I'm able to close it.
Yeah, see with that one, the video's already over. But see with this one already, it's that like being able to cover everything is fantastic. Like, because a lot of us are not gonna have our own shop, or if we have a garage, we don't park the mobile van in the garage, so it's gonna be out in the space. So like with this one, that's like obviously you can go up, right, vertical. Like you could get like a small rig of some sort to like put some reels under, right? Like if you had a dedicated work truck and that's all it was, you could put some reels in the back of this truck, right? Like you could build a little, maybe not you, but get someone or buy something to put a air hose reel and a pressure washer reel and perhaps maybe even a vacuum reel if it was like a dedicated work truck that you can like secure down. But if it's like your daily driver that you also use for, you know, everything else, then keeping it like this is fantastic. Now, obviously that's going to limit you to, you know, to what, again, like to what vacuum that you can get, to what pressure washer, to whatever. But like something like this, you can get a lot done with just a pickup truck. Like if you have a small pickup truck, a mid-size pickup truck, especially if you have a full-size pickup truck, you can fit a lot of stuff in there, still keep it low profile to where you can cover it. If you have a truck, you're in good position to start your business, right? Like if you have someone that has a Camry versus a small pickup truck, the small pickup truck is already well within striking distance of like everything that you need as far as space goes, because even with a small pickup truck, you can hook up a small trailer to it. Nothing big that, you know, obviously, but if you have a small pickup truck, you can hook up a small trailer to it, and now you've extended a lot more storage. Now, I personally am not a fan of trailers, but if that's what you have, if that's what you have to work with, more power to you. So now this is a next one. Now we're just looking at some photos here. Let's see, this is a pretty neat setup. Now, with our van isn't set up like super neat, right? Like we didn't spend weeks or months setting it up. As the day that we purchased our van, we spent one night throwing everything in there, and we ran it like that for like a week. And then we got a shelf built like in one day, and we threw everything in there. So for us, we haven't had like, we had no time, not that we didn't have time, but we didn't make any time to like really optimize our van. We really just threw stuff in there. So our like compared to our van to his or hers, I forget whose it is, this is a fantastic looking van. Now there is going to be like a difference between, like, cause I know there's people that like keeping their van and the backside like super clean looking and such, which is fine. But you know, like for me, like I'd rather cram as much as I can in there to get the most out of it versus like trying to make it look clean. Totally up to you. Another thing, like this is a really clean setup. Like I like this a lot. This is really cool. Now for me personally though, like I don't like keeping brushes alone. Like I'd rather like that. The same thing of like our interior tool bag. Like I have all the interior brushes in a bag. That way, if I need to clean the interior, I can take the whole bag and have all the brushes there with me. Versus like having to go back to the van, get a few specific brushes, and then come back and then go back for some brushes or pads or whatever. So for me, as far as like interior and exterior, I'd rather have all the brushes in one bucket or in one bag. That way, I can just grab it and go. Versus like, oh, I forgot one. Let me go over there. Oh, I'm done with this brush. Let me go put it back. That's just me though. Personal preference. Nothing wrong with that. We have the same MTM lance, which is it's a pretty good lance here. Nice bottles. I like that. Like we don't have any bottle holders like this, so this is a really neat one. But other than that, yeah, like let's see what else we have going on here in this van. If this is oh, it's not gonna let me play. Okay, so this is the back side of the van now, and yeah, so one thing that does help, is this an extractor? Yeah, this is an extractor because it has 3 buttons, so I'm assuming this is an extractor or vacuum in an extractor. I'm not sure, but that's a pretty big one. And what van is it? I actually don't know what van this is. It looks like a Transit 150, 250. But yeah, so another key thing that would really help is like over time, again, not right now, but over time, is getting more low profile equipment. Like for instance, we have the AR Blue 600 or whatever, and it's very tiny, which this pressure washer is pretty big. So like over time, if you can, a way to save space is to get more compact items. Now compact doesn't necessarily mean better or worser, but it does help to get more compact items. But this is yeah, like on this one, like that just, you know, my biggest thing is it looks like that extractor is like right in the way of everything. So I would try to figure out how to get that more stationary and not in the way. Like for instance, in us, we have the Prospector 500, and that thing is a 12-gallon extractor, and we have I think we have a bigger van than this. It looks like it actually. I don't know what van this is, but anyways, our van, we have the Prospector 500 secured on one area, so we never have to move it out the way. Granted, we have it on a hose drill and everything, but like something like this, it looks like it's in the way. So that would be like my first, like if I'm trying to move things around, I would try to see like, is there any way that I can put this in one spot, because it's taking up so much room. But other than that, it looks very clean. Like this is still cleaner than our van. Like this is still way cleaner than what we have going on in our van. Oh man, yeah, this is very interesting. What kind of extractor is this? Because this is obviously the basin or the waste tank, the basin I'm gonna say. So that's very interesting actually. And keep in mind, with whatever setup that you have, it's not gonna be like that for months, right? Like I want to change our current setup, but the van's just always out there every day, and we have other things to take care of. So it's like it would be a priority for us to change things, but right now the van's always out there. So like this is a good setup. Like this is a very neat, clean setup. But you know, don't. I understand you spent money on the shelves and everything, but don't be afraid to be like, you know what, I can change things up. You know what, I can do this better. Like run this setup for however long, and if it's not working out or just over time, you'll find things that can be improved. So like, you know, after 3 months, you're like, okay, looking at the setup, what do I always go for? What don't I go for? What don't I use? What could be better? What am I always pushing around? Like find what's like the little tweaks that you can make to optimize your setup. Like for instance, we don't carry any gallon sizes in our van. Why? Because we have things and before the shop, we had it in a garage. So for us, we don't keep the only gallon size that we keep in the van is the APC, because if we need to dilute something, we can make it right there. But as far as all the other chemicals, we bring no gallon size there. Everything is a 32 ounce or a pump sprayer. But other than that, we have no gallons of any sort because everything gets diluted here at the shop, and then we fill up the bottles. And again, if we do run out, it's 100% of the time gonna be APC. It might be ONR, but even then we don't carry that. The only gallon size that we carry is APC because that we go through the most. Because you would save a lot of space by getting, like, you know, really look at like how much of that do you use? Like, are you refilling the 32 ounce bottles on the field with all those gallon sizes, or should you be refilling all of that before you leave your garage and save up all that space for something else? You know, like it looks cool. Like I see a lot of setups, not here, but like across Instagram, that have the gallon setups on their shelves. But realistically, if it's not a practical use, you don't really need it. So here's okay. So I guess it was I should have put them in reverse. But yeah, that's a big old. Oh wow, that's a big old air compressor. What kind of compressor is that? I don't know what compressor it is, but that thing looks massive. That's cool. Good air hose reel. Okay. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like for us, the same thing. Like we all, you know, everyone puts the pressure washer, the air hose reel, the pressure washer reel, the electrical reel, all in the front, and then the water tank goes somewhere in the middle. But you know, if your van has like opens the doors two ways, then you can have a different setup. Now remember, like for us, we only have one side door, but the reason for that is because the one side door will always be facing the customer's house, right? If you're parking correctly on the street, right? So on us, we have the sliding door is only on the right hand side, because that's where when you park at a customer's vehicle, it's always going to be like that. Now it could change if you're in a parking lot or something or somewhere, like it could change. So when you are setting up your van, if you have multiple doors, keep in mind that you're not always going to be on the side if you have two doors, meaning if the passenger side door is the one that always opens and you're setting something up on the left side door, that means if you're always on the right hand side working of your vehicle, but you have something set up on the left hand side, then you might have to like, you know, like move around the entire vehicle to get to the customer, to get to the vehicle, if that makes sense. So just keep in mind, like if you have two doors, if it works out for you, like set everything to always exit the passenger door if you always see yourself working on the right side of the vehicle where, you know, most vehicles are going to be. That's, like for us, 99% of the customers, we have everyone on our right hand side because that's just how traffic moves and stuff at the neighborhoods and apartments. So that's why it makes sense for us to keep everything on the right hand side. Now there is some instances where like we're at an apartment and like just by where we're at, we can't park on the left hand side, right? So the vehicle ends up on the right hand side. So there we might park in reverse, or we might look for another parking that just allows us to park on the other side. So it's gonna differ like where you're working at, but just keep that in mind. Like if most of your vehicles on the right hand side, try to put your outlets or your hoses exiting the right hand side if that's the setup that you're going for, depending, you know, whatever. So hopefully that would help you out there. Now this is another vehicle here. I think I only received 1 or 2 photos from this one. So I think this is a different, yeah, this is a different one. So this is the only photo I have here. They don't have a water tank or a generator, I believe. They get it from the customers. I could be wrong. But obviously, like, over time, you can definitely upgrade a lot of stuff in here. I think this is like a small like Ford Transit or something. So for instance, like that red trash can, I don't know what it's for, but like when you're building it out, you can definitely add a 50-gallon drum. Like in our 1999 Dodge Caravan, we had a 55-gallon drum. It wasn't vertical, right? Because like the 100-gallon water tank that we have right now, it's a vertical, so it takes up a lot of space vertically. But if you want to save us space, go up, go vertically. So get like a 50, and it's like even having a 35-gallon water drum or water tank will help you out being more self-sufficient. But you definitely have space, and it's gonna take time. But like if you get, again, like everyone can stack things long ways, right? The way to save space and to get more space out of your van is to stack things vertically. So that's either getting shelves or getting something custom built, right? Like building it yourself or something, so where you can stack things vertically. And I gotta remember when we went to go look for a Ford Transit or a Ram Pro City, Pro City, whatever, like the smaller work vans. And when we saw it, we're like, man, this is not that much space, because even the 1999 Dodge Caravan that we had more space than those smaller ones. So you will quickly fill up the vans. So it's very important that you really understand like what is it that you need and what you can really fit in there, because you don't want to throw a 100-gallon water tank in the back of this van, and that's literally gonna take up almost 80% of the setup back there. So I would rather you have a smaller tank to carry water and still fit plenty of other things, versus like most of the vans that you see around here, like in your area, it's gonna have a big old like 100, 150, 200, 250-gallon water tank, a pressure washer, and a generator. But like nowadays, you don't need to carry that much water, right? Depending on like the water method that you're choosing as the washing method, a 35-gallon, 45-gallon, 50-gallon water tank, water drum will take you a long way to servicing vehicles. So yeah, and for instance, like a simple thing that you can, like the first upgrade I would give you on this one would be a generator. Like that's always the first because people ask me, hey, do I get a pressure washer first or a generator? It's like, well, with the generator, you become so much more self-efficient. Meaning, you know, if you don't have a generator, then you always have to go and look for the customer's power supply. But if you carry your own power, that takes a lot of headaches, and you know, that's a big step you have to remove. So now you can just get there and get to work. So if you have a generator, then you can hook up an electrical hose reel to it, and from there, now things are becoming a lot easier for you to pull out the electrical cord and hook things up. But yeah, there's a lot of potential for this setup. Alright, and I'm gonna stop it right there for the first video. Please let me know your thoughts on the video format, what I could do better, what you enjoyed, what I should include, so I can get better on the next videos that I make in this series. Again, send me your mobile setup to oscar@detailgroove.co. Send me photos, videos, and if it's a video, please shoot it in landscape mode so it's easier for me to review. I'll talk to everyone on the next one.